And it's time to get going on a FishEZ. Handy dandy trusty microphone. Always seems to help, so when I walk around the room, I'm going to add that in there. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We are going to look at a few fish. We're going to see a few fry. And our interest tonight is to follow up on our previous live stream a little over a week ago. Maybe it's been a little longer than that because we did have some updates along the way. That's true. Hey, how's it going, everybody? We got HHD, we got Go With The Flow, we got Roncat 2019 Otter. And I did get your order. Thank you so much for ordering online. And I will send something out very soon. We do have a postal strike going on here in Canada, but I'm still going to do my best to get it out because it may take a while to get to you, but it will still be valid. It'll still be viable. That's what I found out about shipping paramecia. Paramecia is pretty, shall we say, stalwart. It's hard to kill under conditions. But of course, what I have found is that when you ship in the colder temperatures, it does just fine. It probably goes into a more, not relaxed, but a more dormant state. But if it's shipped in the heat, that's when it goes on fire and it starts to multiply, and that is a problem because then it can quickly crash. That can happen in a sealed bag. So we're doing good. So thank you everyone for joining. We're just chit-chatting a moment to give everybody a chance to join us. And what we're going to do tonight is look at some real fish. Yeah, okay, thank you. And I will send it out probably Monday. We'll get that in the mail because it will take maybe a while to get out. I'm not sure. I haven't mailed anything during the strike through Canada Post. If I try using something else, if I try going with a different carrier, it can be done, but it would be way too costly. So we'll see. Tonight we have in store, if you recall, we had right here on the, well, it's gone now because I've had to clean out the green water tank. We had a list of fish and you all voted on which fish we wanted to breed. So we put together some tanks. Let me show you those tanks. If you weren't part of that crowd last time, I encourage you to subscribe and be a part of our fun. Here is the workbench tanks. We have 1 tank, 2 tank, 3 tank, 4 tank, and then there's of course 4 more. And this is where most of our breeding is done in these 8 tanks total. You'll notice that the first one was voted in by the group. These are the rosies. These are rosy barbs, but you'll notice that we have an experiment going on because, yes, I bred lots of rosies. They're so easy to breed. These are long fin rosies. However, what's interesting is that I have the temperature upped to 82 degrees and it's been held there pretty good. So I'm going to get the flashlight because I think it might be easier to see these fish with a flashlight. That's why I have the light. It's just on blue light right now. Let's see if we can spot them. There is a few fry in here. There's one right there in the back on the left. See it kind of like over the heater. It gives you an idea of the size in just 2 weeks. What we were trying to do by upping the temperature is we want to try to stimulate or cause an effect. There's one right here. And that's a rosy barb. I want to see if I can get more males as a percentage of the group. Unfortunately, this is not a good sample data because we noticed that there's only 1 or 2. This thing should be crawling with fry if they had been breeding all of them, and they weren't. So maybe they're not easily bred in 82-degree water. Maybe it needs to be a little cooler, which is recommended, probably more like 77 or 78. Oh, look at the top here, right here in the front. Can you see? There's two right there at the surface. Yeah. Okay, so they're okay. There's a few in here. But this is tank 1 and our first view. And unfortunately, we do not have a large batch, but I will go ahead and raise these. Tank 2 on the workbench are well known to us. These are the threadfin rainbow fish growing out. They grow so slow. There's about 6 of them left, I guess. I don't know. One, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 in here right now. But unfortunate, wait a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. I've only counted 8 up to 8 before now, and now there's 9. So it's kind of nice. But as you can see, they're nice. But threadfin rainbows are definitely a little delicate, and some of them are still quite small. This one up here, I don't even know if you can see how small it is. Let's see if I can zero in on the light, but you can see them up against the surface moving about. These guys are so slow. In tank number 3, let's move on. This is the only failure. This was set up a little differently because this is what I understand would be a more likely case with breeding the tetras that we put in here. And we put rummy nose in here. And I did put a lot of hiding spots. They did very well. What we did was 3 females and 2 males, left them there for 2 days, took them out, put in 4 females and 4 males on the 27th, and the temperature was right at 80. And we wanted to see if we could get some fry out of here. And I have looked and looked and looked, never saw a thing. So this one we're going to have to redo. This tank is now available. We're going to call this one lost cause. This was a failure. So that's 2 tanks. We got 50% right now. So 50% success rate, 50% failure. This is a pair of cichlids right now, and I don't think we have any eggs. I've been watching this pair. We've been dropping the pH. One of my next videos, if you're interested in knowing how to drop the pH using this method, there's a lot of little subtleties in doing so, and I'm going to explain all this in a future video, maybe this week. I can't promise anything, but I'm certainly going to try. Let's go on to the other tanks. This is our checkered barb tank. See, it looks like this. Just looks like just moss in the middle, a rock to hold the moss down. One tiny little. Oh, there's a fry on the left. You can see them. So we got 2 fry over there. Looking around, there's 2 in the back. You can't quite see them, but maybe you can going up the glass there. They're about the same size as those rosy barbs at this point. Looking in the front, I have counted right there in the moss on the left-hand side. I'll hold the camera still. You can see them moving back right above the rock. You see there's a couple. Let's see if I can move the camera, move the light, and see if that changes the perspective. So we had success. I would say, just looking at the numbers here, we're looking at a good 25 or so checkered barbs. They were very nice pairs. I never saw any actual breeding of the checkered barb, but they obviously did something. I mean, actually I saw the males chasing the females. They were chasing, but I never saw the females kind of acquiesce and go into the moss with the male. Sometimes you see that, especially with tiger barbs. It's easy to watch them. Let's go on to our next tank. We did a total of 5 tanks, so that was a success. the OO, that's the abbreviation for checkered barbs. And now this is the biggest surprise. I was not expecting this. These are the albino RC, which is, we're looking at the cherry barbs, albino cherry barbs. Turn the light on. Actually, you almost can see. You know, I'm going to turn the regular light. Maybe you can see better with just the regular light. I'm going to change it from blue. There we go. Yeah, that's even better, I think. Look at this. Look at them go. Turn the light on. They kind of move around. There's barbs here, there, down here, on the side. They're all over this tank. There's another one right there in the front. Couple on the front glass. I'm counting, just holding the camera. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can count a dozen fry just looking at it, and there's always more than you think or what you can see. So if they get a little bigger, we're going to be able to point them out, not pull them out. Now, I do know that in all of these different fry, they're growing up about the same size. So it's kind of nice that they're not needing to be in separate tanks. So what I'm going to end up doing is, as they get big enough to pull out of these tanks, I'm going to combine them into one tank, and we'll have cherry, checkered, and rosy all growing up in the same tank. There's no reason not to, because they're all of similar nature and there would be no problem. And you can tell them apart so easy. So that gives us 3 out of the 4 tanks, a 75% success rate we've had in breeding these fish. And then again, we come to the last one, the 5th one. And honestly, we put in here the penguin tetras. That's what everybody wanted me to do, this penguin tetras. So what we did was we put 3 pair, or I couldn't really sex them, but they had been separated. So 3 from one tank, 3 from the other, which was my best guess for males and females. Put them together for 2 days. I saw no activity. They were starting to settle in and just chase one another. And then I took them out, put in 3 males and 3 females. Again, for my best guess as to what females and males, and put them in for another 2 days, and then I pulled them out. And then I waited and waited, and I don't think it was anything. So first I thought this was a big failure, but then all of a sudden, these guys started coming out of the woodwork, and there were tons of tiny little ones. They're so much smaller than the barbs. I'm not sure if I can even, let me try the flashlight up on that. They also have a tendency, something I learned about breeding tetras, they go to the surface, and they're right along the surface, so you can find them up there. So let's turn on the light, see if I can spot any, see if you can see any. The water looks like it's got a lot of infusoria in it, which is true. Wish I could get a better shot of one. So you can see them. They're so small. Okay, there's one going along the glass right on the right hand side. But I have a feeling, there it is. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a brown speck. Yeah. But there's, if you look at the surface, they're coming along the surface right here. Look up. If I tilt all more up and hold it still, of course, you might see them scurrying across the top. Yeah, that is one right there, right there. Looks like between the 2 lines, the 2 hairlines. That's a couple of them right there. So this tank was covered in little ones that were glued on the sides. I don't know if they're going to be like some of the barbs where they're they're hiding most of the time and you won't be able to see them. But it would be nice if we could get 20, 25 penguin tetras out of this attempt. So there you have it. It was a 4 out of 5 or 80% success rate. 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. So we have success, success, success as 3 tanks. And then coming over here, we have success and 1 failure. So that's interesting. Yeah, I've never bred tetras either. And so for me, this was, I know they're an egg scatterer. I don't have a lot of experience with tetras, but one of the things I've noted about the tetras in this particular case is that when they're put in to get, you know, when tetras, they have a behavior that's quite different from barbs. To describe it, I would say that the tetras are a fish that set up their little space and they have a hierarchy. So whenever another tetra gets close to their space, they go and pop that puppy, you know, and just boom, boom. They're just constantly, it looks like they're fighting and arguing. Because once they've set up their territory or their space, that seems to be what they do. Now, this is not true with all tetras. The biggest exception is one of the greatest exceptions, and that is the rummy nose. It's one of the reasons why I like rummy nose and why most people do, is because they really do school. They love schooling. And you can find them together, put them in a large tank, a good dozen, maybe 2 dozen of them, and they will stick together and move about like one fish. It's an amazing sight. They're an awesome little schooling tetra. So we haven't cracked the code on those yet, but I kind of suspected from the beginning that that particular tetra was going to be a huge challenge. The reason it was going to be a huge challenge was because I suspected that their pH requirements and maybe their space requirements were going to be more difficult. But I was hedging my bet with full conditioning, lots of live food, separation of the sexes. For them, the sexes are very easy to tell apart. Because as adults, the females are like 1.25 times larger than the males in length, and they have full-bodied. The males stay shorter, they're not as big, and they don't have full bodies. And so for me, putting them side by side after conditioning them up, feeding them live foods and all kinds of good foods, it was very difficult for me to believe that once they put them together, pow, they weren't going to do something. But it could have been the temperature. Maybe it was too warm for them. It could have been the pH. Maybe it was not the right pH. So we're going to have to keep tuning in. I've watched many videos out there on YouTube. Most of the time it's about, you know, culture. You know, I had this success, but nothing very detailed in terms of specific parameters that cause the fish to actually breed and be reliable as they breed. So in other words, being able to turnkey it and being able to set up a tank and know exactly how to dial it in. And if I could dial it in, that would be ideal. And we'll have to do that. We're going to have to keep trying with those. I do want to be successful at some point. And the same thing is with cardinal tetras. There's a lot of dialing in, and a lot of people have put together a lot of interesting aspects. I have some really nice conditioned cardinals here. We're going to give those a try. We'll give them a whirl and see if we can't get those to also spawn. I have some information from a friend who has been very successful at raising lots of cardinals and years of experience doing it. So he gave me some tips and told me how to do it. We'll give it a try. We'll definitely give it a try. So now, We were successful with the barbs, and we were successful with the penguin tetras. I must admit, though, as with the penguin tetras, one of the things that I really love about them is once they got to adulthood, it took them getting to adulthood before I found out that they are beautifully colored. Fish don't always exhibit beautiful colors when they are growing up. It's only when they reach maturity before they display gorgeous colors. That might be said of the mascara barbs. That might be said of mini barbs. There are some plecos, though, and there is one in particular, the wood-eating pleco, that is very popular. I think is I forget what it's called, but it's kind of a reddish color. It looks really bright when it's young, but as it ages, it kind of loses its luster. It becomes lackluster, and that's kind of sad. However, I will show you. I don't know if I can capture it or not. The colors of the penguin tetra. The males, I'm gonna just change over to here. I've got them in here. Oh, the problem is stupid lighting is never that good. Let's see. Okay, here they are. Now, I don't know if you can see. I think they're getting fed, I think. But there's a black line, but look at the green and yellow, what almost looks like fluorescent colors. They're like electric colors that are just above and below the black line. They also have white tips on their fins, and that I didn't know before. They've developed these white tips, sort of like a silver tip tetra does, but not as pronounced as a silver tip. But just look at the colors. Yeah, I don't think the camera can capture the color. You have to be looking at them with your eyeball. Yeah, these fish fooled me. I didn't think they bred at all. And the reason why was because they didn't seem to show any interest in each other. But I think what it is they breed so quick. They just come together for a brief instant and poof, eggs come flying out. Yeah. I have another group over here. I've kind of separated the males and females again into two groups. I'm going to give it another try because I believe if I'm not successful at rearing at least 25 of these, I'll be scratching my head. Since I've had these tetras since they were kind of young, and I bought around 16 of them. Since in the last 2 weeks, I've lost 2 of them. They just found dead, and that is unusual because for the longest time I've had these tetras and I've never lost a one. Had the full count. You breed them and then suddenly they knock off. I'm not sure what that's all about, but you can see the way they start attacking one another. Just look at the yellow, kind of yellowing in this male here. If I can get zoomed in, they're kind of more peaceful in this tank. All of the glass seems to have a little more algae. I zoom in, you can see the bright colors. It's like an electrifying look, electrifying colors. See that? Some more pronounced than others. Maybe that is an indicator of a male or female. It's not entirely clear if that's the case. I haven't found a big difference between the sexes, so it was hard to know. But you can see the way they're fighting, they're kind of bickering. They set up these territories and they just chase each other constantly. Most of the time, I see a few frayed fins here, but that may have been in the move. Normally speaking, they don't have any frayed fins after all the battling that they do. So I think it's all just, look at the fight going on over there. It must be 2 males. Look at them. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're battling over something. They think maybe it's mealtime, but they'll walk away, both of them, after battling like this, and there'll be no frayed fins, So they're not really attacking one another. They're not biting. They're just rehearsing. While we're here, I don't know if you can see this pistogramma trifasciata. I put a female in here with him. Look at, there he goes. He's going to attack her. Oh, he is so aggressive. I have already lost 2 trifasciata due to the aggression in the males. He's not as aggressive towards that's curviceps there. That's the Leocara female. He seems to ignore her, but when he sees the female trifasciata, he goes crazy. Too crazy, really. Yeah, but he's got beautiful colors, and his finnage is gorgeous. They're just look at the colors on him. He spreads his fins. I should put a mirror in there and get him to look at it himself. A lot of people do that with their epistogrammas to get him to flare up. Yeah, so that's what's happened in the field of what we did, the breeding project. I need those tanks back, so as soon as they're going to get large enough that I can transport them or remove them from the tanks, I will. I will probably combine them, except I won't put the tetras with the barbs, but I'll put the barbs together and the tetras together and grow them out even more. We do have an advantage of feeding we have paramecia here available, and we use that. This too is my other special case. This is how I get small quantities of the tiniest brine shrimp. So this is a hatcher. It is the type of hatcher that, okay, so I was able to get, I don't know if you can see that, but there you go. Brine shrimp, I just pull this out from the center, which is the only spot where the light gets to. And now I have it. So let's go ahead and come over here and feed the tetras. They're very small, but I'm trying to actually get them on. I really want to get them on baby brine shrimp. I would never be able to do it with the brine shrimp I get from normal source. But this is the San Francisco, and the San Francisco brine shrimp. Let's see. And I can just dip it like this. You can see all that brine shrimp. It's super tiny brine shrimp. Newly hatched. I just put those eggs in the water last night, and we already have brine shrimp today. It only takes 24 hours. They hatch quickly, and that's what you want, is newly hatched brine shrimp to be the smallest possible. And this is the smallest species that I'm able to get. Yeah, they're tiny. And looking at this little penguin tetra right here, I don't know if I can zoom in. Can we get in to a closer look? It's right there at right here. Right there. Yeah, see it? There it is. There's your penguin tetra. Super tiny. Yeah, there we go. A little in focus. It's very hard to zoom in. It's so tiny, and everything else causes the camera to focus on it. But you can see I'm just inundating them with live food. I'm also feeding them. These guys are getting, the only ones that are getting vinegar eels as well. So they're going to get as much food as they can, and I just put this back in the center, and I will come and get. Let's see, I will get more of that brine shrimp as it comes to the light. Like I said, I only put the eggs in last night. It will last me several days of doing that over and over and over. So I'm just constantly, as they hatch, I'm constantly pulling out baby brine shrimp, San Francisco style, and I use that particular small amount on special cases. Anything that is like in the case of barbs, where they hatch and they're 2 days on paramecia, they grow quickly, and then next thing you know, they can jump on the other brine shrimp. So after 2-3 days, they're on the baby brine shrimp. And so once that happens, I can use the cheaper bulk. Now, yes, the San Francisco is more expensive for me, probably because I have to get it from the United States. I have some in the freezer, but it does last a long time. and I do ship that as well. It's not actually advertised much, but I will ship that out in small quantities to people who want to get some. The San Francisco baby brine shrimp, and it's the eggs or cysts, I should say. Hey, Craig. Thanks for joining us tonight. Looks like he's with us. And Stubbs, yeah, I saw Stubb. You asked about the emperors. The emperor tetras. I don't have any of those. Emperor tetras are probably nice try. I mean, they would be a nice fish. I just don't know about getting into a lot of tetras and what's the viability of breeding them. Mostly, I want to try and attempt different species. I've discovered that there are some programs out there in your local club for Breeders Award Program, so they're called BAP. Breeders Award programs they require certain things. I don't know that I'm a candidate for a breeder award program. I like to breed the fish for myself, to see that I can, to see what I like, to see what will breed for me and in good quantities. Also, what is commercially viable. So we're going to see what is commercially viable. There is something we are getting into more, and I'll show you some of those pistogrammas now. Before I go, though, I want to show you this unfortunate incident. This is a female who's coming out. She is gorgeously colored. I don't know if she's going to pop back in when she sees the camera. Yeah, she's right there in front of that rock. Oh, I moved my arm and she bolted away. But she is a Pelvochromis subocellatus female. And when they color up, oh, wow. And she's colored up right now. She's got a little home in there. Unfortunately, the male died, and I sold the other ones in an auction. I put them in an auction, so she's the only one I have left. So that's kind of sad. But I've given these fish a chance. They did breed once in my aquariums, and unfortunately, after they bred, we had babies. We had like 25, I believe. Yeah, I believe they all got eaten. They didn't last long. The parents ate them. I think the male may have wanted to go back on eggs or something. I don't know. But it was sort of an unsuccessful attempt, and that was it. I couldn't get them to lay eggs again. Anyways, she's not going to come out. She's too shy. It is a very shy species, but when you have them in your community and they get used to you, what a gorgeous fish. I wish she would come out just for a peeky peek. Gorgeous. So I was going to show you over here. Let's take a look at what we've got up in the top tanks. Here is the Epistogramma Inca 50. This is males. I have males in this tank. I have a bunch of females to put in there, but I haven't yet. You want to see a beautiful fish. This is called the Hogslow. This is the Hogslowi. And the Hogslowi have versions. This is a mutation of a gold with red gold mutation. What a gorgeous fish. And even the fins, they're holding it in right now because they're a little afraid. But I've got 3 pair in here. They're just sort of getting used to each other. They're going to be moved over to some tanks we have at the Grow Out Center. I've got 2 pair in my possession, and then these 3 pair will go over there. Here is an Epistogramma. This one is Agassiz, triple red. The males that we got got a lot of blue on them. Very nice, very attractive fish. Let me see if I can focus on him better. Look at that. Here he is, showing some things. Here we go. Nice little focusing, but look at that. There's the fish. That was an FishEZ, and there's a male, female pair in here. Here is the other trifasciata, the one that, is there a female in here? I think it's just the male. No, there's a female. She's got her face out of the, she's in the, look at that. She's already in the cave. Maybe she's just trying to protect herself. The males get so aggressive. So here's a trifasciata pair. It's the next step. Now that I see that they're not killing each other, I just put them together a few days ago. There's the male. He's showing off. There you go. See the colors? The colors, the blue in these fish, just amazing. So now it's time that I need to put some tannins and some drop the pH. We need to go some natural blackwater kind of tank, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in this video that's coming up this week. So hopefully you're subscribed, you've given a thumbs up, and you're ready for that. I hope it works, that you can see or be with us for that video. Oh, here's the male and female. In this species, the female, I don't know, look very attractive as well. Look at them flaring at each other. Female looks nice too. Oh, here he is. Look at that. Oh, he's spreading it. See the camera? They're camera shy. They clamp their fins when they feel threatened. But you've never seen color like this. Just gorgeous fish. Yep, 3 pair in there. And what I've discerned from just keeping these fish for a short while, the hogslow are very mild compared to the trifasciata. And also on this one, the Inca 50s, I'm going to show you the females in a minute. They're in another tank. I think the females are neat. I think they're really attractive. These are probably, I think, are washed out because of the color of the sand. I don't know. They're on a brown sand. But the Inca 50s, the females, well, we've got panduros here. There's a male here. And a female in this tank. She's up above, right in the back there. But we've looked at those a lot. Now this tank has a pair of, okay, this is another triple red FishEZ. We're going to feed them some worms maybe tonight. I don't know. I've been feeding them worms, lots of live food. If they don't get worms, they get brine shrimp for sure. Also Daphnia. I have Daphnia set aside. And here's a pair of hogslow. Hogslowi. There's a male and there's a female in there. And she is super. She's found her little spot in where the cave is. The cave is just basically buried. And so this is the kind of environment where the Epistogramma can become a micro predator, hunting down things in the leaf litter. They have plants. They just feel secure with all the hidden places to go. I've got the probe in there. This probe is telling me the pH right now is 6.3, and that's not bad. Over here, another Panduro. This is a pair. Let's see how they're doing. I haven't checked on them today. Usually they're up at the front glass when they see me. Oh, here he is. Yeah, he's up the front glass. There's the male. I have other younger ones that I'm pairing off, and these are down located here. So we've got another pair in here to pull out. I just don't have a tank for them yet. There's a male right here. That's a male, and there's the female. She's a proven breeder. We've already gotten babies from her. That is what a Panduro female looks like, you'll notice the black blotch. No two blotches are exactly the same. And that's kind of why they're kind of neat, be able to tell, like a fingerprint, really. It might be similar, but look at the black blotches. They're just so different. Come on, focus. So these fish, I need to get out the fish and leave the appearance. That is one method, or I just pull out the pair that's made it up. They've accepted each other and they're going in and out of the cave. That's a coconut cave there. I've bred out of coconut caves just as much as this ceramic caves. Before we move on, I gotta show you these electric blue rams. They're just sensational. What I have in here is one male and about 6 females. So I think he's picked the one he wants. I just need to get him out. I think I'll do that in here. Well, we have a tank here, a 10-gallon. Let me see if I can fix my focus. There we go. So here, this 10-gallon here is ready to go. I just need to put fish in it. And that might be a pair of electric blue rams. Maybe it'll be the Panduros. Backing out though, I want to run over to here and we're going to take a look at these females. Well, there's my other pair, this pair right here of the Hogsloi. There's a pair in here. And there is a pair of triple reds here in that one. Number 2. Tank number 1 has a trifasciata and he killed the females because he's so aggressive. She was in there. Knew how to escape and everything. I just don't know why. Didn't take long. Blink an eye. So we're going to get him into a larger tank. That's obviously too small of a tank, obviously, to really breed aggressive fish in. That's for sure. But it might work. It just might work for the FishEZ. Just depends on, I might set some rocks and things. Now, let's just take the camera closer. Tank number 4 is the females I was talking about. Those are the Inca 50s. I think they're extremely camera shy, so watch out. They're going to go darting. Can you get a look at their yellow? They get very yellow. The one down below doesn't have so much yellow. They very much resemble the Panduros, but the difference, instead of a blotch, they have stripes. And they look like a tiger. See if I can find one that has that. It comes and goes. Right now they're showing their panic attack. But see, look at this one on the left here. She's got a lot of yellow, but you can start to see where the stripes will be, right? Okay, this is not working. Let's see. There we go. Okay, focused in. See how the stripes will come in. She'll get dark yellow and black stripes. Maybe they're just young. I haven't quickly put these together with their males only because these gals, I just want them fattened up. I want them mature. I do not want them. Oh my goodness, look at this over here. That is FishEZ, triple reds, looking super nice. How can you not love a fish colored up like that? And I ran out of caves, caves basically, pisto caves. So there's the female, she's more yellowish, you can see, but she's still very attractive. But I'm using open-ended pleco caves to substitute for caves. They do go in them, go hide in them, and they use them. In fact, this female is probably, oh, there she is. There's a pair of Hogsloi here in this one, and I like the Hogsloi epistogramma because the males do not seem to be aggressive towards their females, and I don't know, I think the females were more aggressive to males. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to see anything out of these Inca 50s. They're just camera shy. You know, when your camera is a big black thing that just kind of like comes out of nowhere, like maybe it's danger, danger. I don't know what they think. They're excited about that. Well, I'm here. This week we had a very large batch of marble angels. Very large batch. And they just hatched today. See if I can get a good shot. You can see them wiggling away. Yeah. There they are. I don't know why. See those top eggs? They're not infertile. They haven't turned white, but they haven't hatched either. So to me, that's a little unusual. I don't know what's going to happen there. Few white eggs, but another very large batch, and there's no fungus. So what I did was, this pair in particular, this angelfish pair, gobbles up their eggs almost instantly after they lay. And I happened to be there when they laid, and they laid a huge batch. And within minutes they would be gone, but I decided to pull them real quick, and I pulled them out. I put them in some low TDS water, basically RO water, and 1 drop of methylene blue. The water in this tubby is probably a little bluish. You can see it, not much. It's just 1 drop. That's all that's needed. Maybe without the light it even works good. No, that's good. The right light shows the shadow, so it makes it look more outstanding. But these will hatch completely by today or tomorrow, and then 3 days, 4 days from now, they'll be free swimming, and we can start feeding them. But it's one of our most productive pairs when you can keep the eggs out of their mouth. Very productive pairs. All right, folks, and this is, I just did a refresh on the Daphnia, these beautiful Daphnia tanks, these jars, they're vases. They work wonders when it comes to, I added the green water, and they multiply, and there's so many babies. These things are just crawling with small Daphnia. See that? They're just crawling. You can't see anything right now, but by the time this clears up, this water clears up, it's going to be amazing. So what I pulled out of there last night was I filtered out 2 liters or liter of water, and this is the Daphnia that I pulled out. This is what I'll feed tonight to the pistogrammas. So they get this live food, this constant feeding of live food. I got grindle worms down here. Grindle worms are good. Daphnia is great. And baby Rhine shrimp is, of course, stupendous. So with this arsenal, including microworms, vinegar eels, that's vinegar eels in the back, by the way. Vinegar eels, microworms, and paramecia. That's 6 live foods that grow in this fish room. And it's just as much work, it seems like, to do micro or to do live foods and keep them going as it is to run a tank, but so worth it, you know, so worth it. It's so easy to get the fish into condition and to get them stimulated to breed, and that's what happens when you have live foods in your fish room. So let's see, any questions been going on? Oh, there you are, Jeff. Hi. Question is, are neon tetras dying out of the hobby? I keep hearing things about tumors. Well, the answer to that question might be, there might be some truth behind what you're hearing, and to some degree there is a lot of I would say a high degree of neons with issues because they've been captive bred for so long. You never hear about wild-caught neons. You do hear about wild-caught cardinals and green neons, but those are different species. But the neon and the Inesi, I think it's Parasheridan Inesi, which is the actual scientific name for the neon, is actually got a lot of issues, and that's why, because of the generations and generations. It's like guppies, mollies, and others that have been bred in captivity for so long. There's quite a substantial amount of issues with them. Now, why that is because they're not properly culling out the diseased or the issues. Like, for example, if you get a batch of even cichlids, any cichlid, could be an apistogramma, a dwarf cichlid, it could be any, if you see one with a bent spine, the tendency is to go ahead and sell it. The tendency is to go ahead and let that fish go on because, you know, that's little money maybe on the side. I don't know if that's the real motive for not doing anything with it, but if you have fish that have issues, actually a good breeder is one who's going to selectively cull those out and not use them. Now, it's another issue altogether to talk about what to do with them. You can keep them, you can put them in the tank, you can use them as live food. I mean, there's all kinds of things that one does with those kinds of fish, but they obviously have some genetic deformity, and you don't want that genetic deformity to actually be carried out onto later generations. So that's the difference between somebody who's doing a good job of breeding fish and somebody who's just mass producing fish. See the difference? Breeder versus a mass producer. And they're just looking at the numbers. Yeah, no problem, Jeff. This is not my normal night. It's been difficult. I came home exhausted yesterday. We had a lot going on at the fish house yesterday. I worked 68 hours. I think it was closer to 8 hours yesterday. And I came home exhausted. I couldn't even send a notice. It was just, we had, I moved some 40 plus discus fry, and it was kind of stressful because I moved them away from the parents. We were going to do that, but then I realized after I moved them that we didn't have baby brine shrimp for them. So that's another issue to get into, because the way I work is, even if I were to skip a baby brine shrimp setup and, you know, eggs put into the tumbler, there's always a stretch. You can stretch them out, and I can always skip feeding, as it were, skip one, and not have a problem. Not have a problem at all. I have that quantity and that ability to stretch it out, because I don't know why it is in this room, but they hatch out within 36 hours, and I can go up to 48 hours, even longer, and they're still alive, kicking. They've grown a little bit. They've probably grown quite a bit. They're maybe not the smallest baby brine shrimp, but at least they still are a Nauplies that is edible and live, and that's what I use. So there's a way of stretching it out. Sometimes you can get by if something happens, right? Well, in this case, it was an accident. The baby brine shrimp was put into all the tanks except for that discus tank, and then I realized that the next time the baby brine shrimp would be ready would be the next morning, and it was just a little stressful. Anyway, I'll show you those fry very soon. Maybe we got some. Gary Smith is asking about Odessa barbs. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for, I've got some adults. I can part with some adults that I have, but not many. But we've sold all of the young ones that we raised this past few months, I think it might be wise to take this tank here behind me, the one that was, I think I'm going to put the Odessas together, because it's always nice to have a batch of Odessas coming up. And so we might have some in 4 months, about 4 months from now. If you're looking for Odessas, I can get you quantities. Depends on how many you need. If you're just looking for a couple pair, you're looking for a couple males, let me know. We do have those. Have I tried pea puffers? No, I have not. Sorry. And I don't know if I will. Pea puffers, I've seen them successfully breeding for, I think it's Nick in Australia, Keeping Fish Simple. I've seen them successfully breeding with some other individuals too on YouTube. However, they're very aggressive fish, and they may be small in size, but they're extremely aggressive and go after bigger fish. And I'm not really prepared to, I mean, it's the same reason why I don't have betta fish. I mean, you know, if I had betta fish here, yeah, fine, but where do I put all these males when I have to separate them? What I've learned with growing axolotls is that we have a lot of axolotls available right now, and we can part with them at a very low cost. In fact, could be the cheapest price you'd ever seen, only because we've got so many, and it's a lot of work individually to care for them, and we would like to reduce the amount of work we have, so it's time for them to move on. Looking for a couple of pairs. Well, it just depends. Okay, so a couple of pairs. I got the males. Let me see how many females I've got. Looking at the tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like I got about 7 females. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 females. So I've got 6 females. If I were to breed them, if I were to put them together and get some, you don't need a lot of, you're looking for a couple of pairs, that's all. 2 males and 2 females, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I could handle that. If you want to put it in order, depending where you're at, are you locally in Toronto area, or do I need to ship them? We do ship. We can do it. The nice thing about something like that, I've used breather bags very successfully with the Odessa barbs. And in a full-size one, I would put 1 per breather bag. And that's how I ship them out. That would be the best way to do it. That way they're all in separate bags, there's no issues. And shipping, unfortunately, just depends on where you're at. So go to aquarium.biz, go to the contact page, send out, if you don't find Odessa barbs on there, and they may be out of stock or whatever, and something to start breeding with. Yeah, okay, yeah, just send me on the contact page, tell me what you want, and tell me your zip code, your postal code, and if you're within Canada, I'll be able to send those out, and we'll be able to do it no problem. And also, even though I've got a good amount of green tiger barbs, I just love to have them growing up. So that's another fish I would love to put together. And we do have some ruby barbs, young ones growing up. So I guess the Odessas really are the next one in line. Then we'll get back to the Pentazonas. I do have a good number of those that are next after that. But they're one of those fish, the Pentazonas. Oh, thank you, Jeff, for posting the link. The Pentazonas, the way I breed those is 2 males and 3 females. They spawn better in groups. Right now they're separated and they're fattened up, you might say fattened up or conditioned up. They're ready to go. Then I put them in RO water, mostly RO water, in one of these tanks in the workbench, and lots of hiding spots. They're very timid fish, and when you put them in there, it will be like 3 days before they settle down. So I leave them in there for about 3 days minimum. Oh, okay, yeah. Mississauga Big L's, all right. I'm closer to Brampton Big L's, but yeah, we can do something, Gary. Now, what I do is leave them in there for 3 days minimum, maybe 4 days, and you'll see nothing. You'll see no breeding behavior, and you'll see nothing. And then I just take the parents out. Those fish, those barbs, are the most secretive that I have ever experienced. The babies themselves do not go onto the glass. So you will think that you have a complete failure. You'll be looking at them like over here. We were looking at this tank and finding nothing, 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 not a single tetra in here. And lo and behold, and by the way, I did put paramecia in there in case they started to hatch, just to make sure the water had plenty of infusoria. And I wasn't able to find anything. I didn't check the surface just to see. No, nothing on the surface. One of the things I didn't like about the penguins, I'm getting off track, but the penguins also went up into the corners where the water tension was, because they like to go up to the surface and hide. So they go up where the water starts to curl up against the glass, and that's the very hiding spot. But that's very dangerous, because if you just drop the water real quick, you'll have all your fish, all your fry, kind of plastered on the side of the glass and unable to get back into the water. So you can't do that. So you have to kind of splash the water, get them off the surface tension before you drop the water, if you need to drop the water. That's just a side tip. FYI kind of thing. So if you have that issue. But getting back to it, these pentazonas or hexazonas, as I think they really are, these guys, the fry, will be hidden away in the moss and the mat on the bottom. You won't see anything for up to 2 weeks. And you think that it's a failure. No, there's nothing going on in there. And then this happened to me once, and I was like, there's nothing in here. And I just left the tank as it is and let it sit. And I tell you, I think we ended up with like 80 fry. 80. It was a good sized batch. But spotting that first one, it took a good week to see one. And then finally they start to come in. So that's a little tip on breeding the pentazona and hexazona fish. They are super, super secretive. It's just innate in their genetics. They like to hide. They I guess in the wild where they're at, they have to, maybe, because they get eaten. They're a small barb to begin with. They don't get very big. Are they the smallest? I think they're even smaller than the checkered barb. Yeah, I think they are. Are they the smallest barb that I have? I think they are. Most definitely. And that's probably why they do that. So anyway, we could ramble all night, but let's see if there's any more questions. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If there's any more questions, yeah, Gary, we'll do something. We'll get together. You're going to get Odessa barbs. Oh, you are, Jeff. Are you getting them from Colorado? The best available, of course. Where are you getting yours from? Looks like I've answered most of the questions. Thank you so much for joining, all of you, including those who are sitting on mountains and watching. Here in Toronto, we had a pretty good snowstorm. So we have got plenty of of white stuff outside, and it's been snowing all afternoon. I hate to look out the window right now. I got my car covered and ready for tomorrow so I can dig it out. I don't know, it's not as bad as what I saw in the news wall back for Buffalo. I don't think we get nearly as bad as Buffalo because we're on the other side of the lake, and I think the winds come across the lake, pick up the moisture, and then dump it on Buffalo. That's the direction of the prevailing winds. So, thank goodness. Well, sorry if you're living in Buffalo, but if you are in Buffalo, you're going to get it. Pepling Creek Aquatics, Foxy's Fishes. Oh, okay. So that's where you're getting them. Okay. Well, very nice. Mine came from Greg Sage, and he's got some really outstanding fish. I will say this about the Odessa barb, just as an infomercial. Not an infomercial. What is it? It's more of an informative side point. When keeping Odessa barbs, I keep them in a community. I look at them and they're red and they're very nice. However, I have kept these same fish in a 20-gallon long with tons of Java moss, and they like to pick at the Java moss. But I had a tank full of Java moss. If you have one of those kind of tanks that just produces Java moss out the bazooka, then you're in luck, you know. And what I found is that I had mostly males, and it was a tank full of males and a couple females. All the males turned black with a red smear that goes all the way across their bodies, and that's what you see when you go to my channel and you see the beautiful scene at the top, the header of the YouTube channel, FishEZ. Those Odessa barbs are actually ones that I raised, and out of Greg Sage stock. There might even been some from Greg Sage in there, I don't know. But they're just unbelievable. The most beautiful scene you've ever seen is a tight group of Odessa barbs when they turn that color. However, that coloration is not a breeding coloration. I don't know what triggers it exactly, but Greg seems to think that there might be a connection between plant fertilizer as well. Could be. But there is a time when they are the most gorgeous fish you've ever seen in your life. However, when they're breeding, they don't have that coloration. So it's not a breeder's coloration. Like in most fish, they go aesthetic and the males shoot the color up. Anyway, that's a little information about the Odessa barb. Just FYI. It's an FYI so that you know. You get information here at FishEZ because I always share it freely with everybody, everything I know. And I don't know a lot, but if I can share something with you that is helpful, I'm happy that you'll be able to enjoy or get something out of it. So, we looked at the fry tonight. I was super happy with the albino cherry barbs. They came out spectacular, the group. And I'm also pleased I got enough of the checkered barbs coming up. Because I don't have a lot of males and females, maybe 3 or 4 pair is all I have of the checkered barbs. And I get nervous if that's all I have in the breeders. Anything can happen. They could start dying off. In my community tank where I keep the males, as you can see here, let me just show you. We just look at these. Yeah. We look at these males. Here we go. Let's kind of get them excited. Okay, so you see in this, these are all males. Green tiger barbs are mixed. There's a checkered barb right there. See? It's got the red fins. I only have a couple males in here, 2 or 3. That's all I have, and I get nervous if that's all I have and they're on the one tank. But if I have a tank full of 50 fry growing up, then I feel a lot better because I feel safe. Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, the checker barbs. Now, the checker barb is also, FYI, another one of those barbs that gets super dark. Now, this is not. It's this checker barb right here is definitely. Where did he go? Oh, he's down here. Okay, this checker barb. Oh, no, I don't see him. There he is, right there. This checker barb here is not in the most beautiful coloration that he could be in. It's similar in concept to, you see this ruby barb? Black rubies? Black rubies look like this normally. The males, they look like this. They got a lot of red, but they can go dark with the red, bright red nose, and they look spectacular. And they do that from time to time in this group. So when they're fired up, they're fired up. And I'll see them, and I'll look at them, and I'll say, oh, look at the ruby barbs. They're really going at it. But that dark pattern, they look almost black. The fins are black, and that's how you can easily tell the males from the females. The fins are black on the males, but their body will go black. They'll just turn black and the red nose. Well, the same with the checkered barb males. Although I've never seen it in these fish, I have some spectacular footage somewhere in my videos of checkered barb male in my community tank that was just like, whoa, what is that fish? And if you didn't know what it was, you'd really wonder. Here's a female checkered barb. Here's the female checkered barbs. Let's see if you can look at them. They got a bluish. Hold on a second. I gotta clear my throat. Okay. See the female? She doesn't have like red in the fins. It's more yellowish. But on her body, she's got a blue metallic sheen. They're pretty too. They're very pretty. Put them in a community tank with males and females together, and you'll see some interesting activity. They're more of a shoaling fish. Here's the male and female together. These are the ones that were breeding. I just tossed them in here when I was doing the round robins. They got to go back into their respective tanks. But there's a female. She looks more brown in this case, with more like a pattern, a spotted pattern on the side. See it right there? There you go. The male has reddish fins, real red in the fins. There's a male, there's a male. And there's, what is that, a female? So, but checker barbs are one of the most underrated barbs. They're very peaceful as well. I've never seen them attack or do anything that would warrant nothing that would warrant disfavor. Nice, peaceful. I would recommend them for community tanks. Yeah, checkered barbs, and they stay small. Smallest barb in there. No, not the smallest. The Pentazonas are, I think, slightly smaller. They're about the same size, actually. It's kind of a toss-up between which one is larger. I've seen some bigs, but seems as though the checker barbs will grow a little bit bigger. Probably all depends on your conditions. But they're the smaller barbs. They're smaller than tiger barbs. Yeah, I've got a frog in my throat. But I consider them very underrated, and I think that there's a lot more that can be done for checkered barbs in the hobby, promoting them, and they're easily, as you can see, we've bred a good number of them here. I've had nice batches in the past. They're not bad at all. So, well, tonight I get to look forward to doing more cleaning. I am in that good cleaning mode, and I have some things to do. Like, for example, I do tonight. I'm going to check the barrels I use for. I soak filters. I take the plastic box filters and I soak them into light of water that's lightly doused with bleach, and I leave them in there for a number of days. They come out sparkling new, and then I dry them out completely, and that gets rid of all the bleach because it evaporates, and so it's gone after it's completely dried out. I'll do that, but I just have the box filters rotating all the time. This keeps the really hardcore algae from getting onto them. I don't like that green spot algae, and even the blackbeard algae. I don't care for that either. I'm looking here now. I've got a lot of big algae problem in this tank, my community tank. I don't know exactly how to fix it. This has always been a source of contention with me. Look at my apple leaf bucephalandra. It's just covered in what looks like soil, dirt, or something. It's like the same up here in the Java fern. And look what it's done to the bobitis. It's like a brown dust. I think what it is like a type of algae that grows on there, and then it collects muck. I don't know how to get rid of it, actually. Even this is my dwarf Balasinaria. Its leaves are kind of turning fuzzy brown. But I don't know what to do about this tank. Maybe it's just not getting enough light with all the floating plants. Maybe I got to keep that at bay. I have been moving them out. As you can see, I'm using up here. I threw a bunch of hornwort up there into the tanks in order to keep plenty of hiding spots for those females in those small tanks, and it's worked. It's really worked. Usually when I move hornwort, it just dies off. All the needles fall off, and it goes through this terrible cycle. But I've found that sometimes it doesn't. So it just depends on what tank you put it in, if it's got the right conditions. I might even try doing that here as well in our low pH tanks. I like to see if the hornwort would take off. I'll just put a little bit in there and just see if it fades away or if it sticks around. Because there's plenty of lighting at the top, and anything I can do to make this a real type of tank that's got a lot of hiding spots, and it's good. Anyway, that's it. That's the goal, and I might just try that. That's why I spend hours in the fish room, because you're doing something, you got to get something done, you have a job to do, you start it, you're not quite done with it before you see something else, and you go and start working on that, and then before long, you've gone from serendipitously from job to job to job, and you've just been running around, and something hits you, and you want to try something. I want to move some hornwort over, and you go and do it, and now you forgot what you were doing originally. And then later you find out, oh, I never finished doing it. Has that ever happened to you? I don't even think you need to answer that. I think it's something that happens to all of us constantly. But thank you very much. Thank you for the thumbs up and the wonderful time we've had this evening. Yeah, you need more tanks, Jeff. Yeah, it's 1 to 3 a.m. You know, I don't know why that is, but I have found myself 1 a.m., 1:30, and I'm still working. Never enough time. So it's going to be a real challenge, especially as our business continues to expand and grow. Yep, Jeff here, one of our moderators, has been instrumental in keeping this wonderful channel going, and thank you very much everybody for being a part of it. If you're a member, if you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe at least. For those who are members too, I appreciate it very much. We're going to try to get into a lot of things. I will, maybe tomorrow, I'll just make it a point, because it's a simple thing. I have to set up here, like right here in this particular tank. This one right here doesn't have the setup for breeding Apistogrammus. So what is it that I need to do, this particular one, to get it in a form, or get it ready and get it set up so I can put a pair of Apistogrammas in there, and they will feel happy, they will be content, they will start laying eggs, and the eggs will hatch and be fruitful. That is the goal. So right now it's just tap water and a filter, and it was used for something else. But now that I've got what is in there? Is that the, yeah, Agassiz triple reds? We got a pair of them in there. So they might want to, yeah. So how do I lower the pH? I'm going to explain all that. I'm just gonna make a video, and tomorrow I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's really not that hard. And I'll just publish that video this week, because it's been a while since I published an actual video. I think it's wise to do that. I would do it every week if I had the time or a moment. I'm going to have to buy out some time during the week to do it, but I think you all deserve it. And I think it would be, it's so easy. It's just that there's a couple of techniques that I've learned to make it simple, and that's what this is all about, FishEZ. So we want to make it easy, and I want to share that with you. So we'll be doing that. Okay, so we'll be growing Apistogrammus together. Thank you very much, everyone. And it's a Saturday night, so I'm sure you have things to do also. Most of all, it's the weekend, so enjoy your fish, and as always, keep it real.